Tonight's headlines are brought to you in part by Coldwell Energy and McDonald's.
Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I am Sally Lemus. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. The federal government says a bank account was used to buy off government officials, and they want the money. Also tonight, a Boost panelist involved in a $1 million Boost money was once a president of a university that got busted up. And we take a look back at some of the stories that shaped this year of 2022. Stay with us, these stories and more are up next.
What's the move? Kinda wild out. Catch a groove. She said, where you going? What's the move? Kinda wild out. Catch a groove. What's the move?
Green sea turtles and hawksbill turtles call the Mariana Islands home. They're an important part of the marine ecosystem. They are under threat, and they are protected under CNMI law. Keep plastic out of the ocean. Keep vehicles off the beach. Use the Sea Turtle Stranding Hotline if you see poaching activities or if you see a turtle in trouble. Call 287-8537 and save a turtle.
And there you have it, McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich. From the makers of the world's most stolen fries. The juicy chicken sandwich from the place that offers extra napkins for a reason. The tender chicken sandwich from the creators of a sandwich phenomenon. So you won't just be biting into a chicken sandwich, you'll be biting into McDonald's new crispy, juicy, tender chicken sandwich. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Half a day to the Wami and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is Monday, January 2nd, 2023. Topping this year's first story, money laundering, wire fraud, and tax evasion are the reasons listed as to why the United States wants to keep cash seized from two banks of Saipan accounts. The U.S. says the money was used to lavish gifts on CNMI government officials in exchange for special treatment for the Saipan casino industry of one.
The forfeiture request is a civil action that comes out of an FBI and IRS criminal investigation of a suspected conspiracy by foreign entities to commit wire fraud and money laundering. Filing doesn't name individuals directly. It uses initials. One of those sets of initials is AY. The United States says that AY is a resident of the CNMI and that AY is the sole owner and operator of MCS, a real estate and financial services firm. AY is believed to be Alfred Yu, and MCS is believed to be Mariana's Consultancy Services. Yu was previously the managing director for the Tinian Dynasty. This video taken from 2007 during a Texas Hold'em tournament held on Tinian. Filing also lists four people, individuals 1, 2, 3, and 4, and says that individuals 1 and 2 are residents of the NMI and partners in a business. It says individuals 3 and 4 are political figures in the NMI. The United States says that beginning in 2013, the owners and operators of a company established relations with CNMI political figures, sponsoring foreign trips to Hong Kong, Macau, and Singapore by private jet. Following those trips, participating political figures joined other members of the CNMI legislature to pass a bill that enabled an exclusive gaming license. Filing goes on to say that in subsequent years, the company transferred more than $2 million to AY and MCS, and that the money was used surreptitiously to advance the company's interests without being subject to examination by the Commonwealth Casino Commission. The U.S. says money was used to provide a stream of benefits to, for, or on behalf of CNMI government officials for the purpose of getting preferential treatment. They say bank records show that money was contributed to candidates, campaigns, and inauguration committees, and that CNMI campaign statements frequently failed to disclose these contributions. They also say that AY made frequent cash withdrawals of $1,000 at a time and then frequently met with individuals 1 and 2 who then made frequent cash deposits of the same amount. They also say that individuals 1 and 2 frequently gave substantial sums of money to individual 3. They also allege that the money was used to stymie efforts that would have required the company to post a completion bond for the hotel casino project in Garapan. Money was originally seized in 2019. It is notable that no individuals were indicted. This filing just about the money.
One of the Boost panel members who was involved in controversial funding decisions was also involved in a controversial university whose founder ended up going to jail.
Jess Taisagui, a Department of Commerce staffer, testified last week that up to 5 companies that he was associated with, either as an owner or close business associate, received over $1 million of Boost money.
For the record, let the record reflect that Flower Tea House was awarded $125,000 on October 27, 2022, and again a second award of $200,000 on December 13, 2022, for a total of $325,000.
Taisagui's been involved in controversy before. In 2003, he was the president of something called Saipan University. A university it was not, at least as far as it was purported to be. Students in China were recruited with a brochure that showed a sprawling campus and offered degree programs that did not exist. Students said they paid thousands of dollars in recruitment fees to come to the CNMI, where they were also promised the ability to work while going to school. Taisagui told the local news that the brochure showed future plans. Here's that interview from 2003.
They were doing the briefing, and it was explained that those are future plan, and they were also questioning about programs, because the Board of Regents approved 3-degree programs. But in the brochure, there were other degree programs, but it was explained to them that these are future programs and not programs that are available right now, but future programs. So the whole thing here, I reviewed the whole thing there, and it's a good brochure, but there's something missing.
Students protested. The licensing board investigated. Attorney Robert Torres represented the school.
That the students expressed to Mr. Taisagui their frustration over, again, the misrepresentation in the marketing, and secondly, the misrepresentation over the fact that they cannot be employed. And so the students walked out and have not been attending the classes.
School told the licensing board that they would give the students some sort of refund, but when pressed, that answer was different from the president of the university. Now, you asked for a list yesterday of the students. How many signed up to go home?
Well, they were reluctant to come out and say that they want to go home. What basically they want is that they want an assurance from the founder that to be refunded with whatever they paid to come here to Saipan. And that is the thing that I cannot promise them nor commit myself with that kind of request.
Students were protesting about the facilities. I expected a sprawling campus. I've got a 2-story facility in Aslito. This is not what I bargained for.
Let's go to that statement then. The fact that they were recruited here promised this sprawling campus, and now they're here and this is not the facility that were promised. Wasn't that something that, being just wanting to be transparent, should have been brought to the board's attention?
Yes,
back then
Yes.
and not now?
Dr. Soon Kyung Park, the school's chancellor, also signed contracts that told the students they would be able to earn some income while going to school.
Where is Dr. Park?
Dr. Park is in Korea right now. And I asked him to come over here so that, to answer all these questions.
School's chancellor, Dr. Park, was convicted of fraud in federal court and was sentenced in 2005 to 9 years and 1 month in prison and ordered to pay more than $500,000 in restitution.
All right, coming up, we look back at some of the stories that topped 2022.
Fast, fun, and easy. That's how your home Wi-Fi should be. So start with an internet plan that fits your budget. Introducing your home Wi-Fi starter pack, also known as WISP. Enjoy up to 25 megabits per second for as low as $35 a month. Plus, a free router with your wireless subscription. That's hours of movies, games, social media, and more endless fun. Get your Wi-Fi starter pack today only at Docomo Pacific. Better together. Additional conditions may apply.
It's okay to take a friend or parent's medication. It came from a doctor, right?
Using someone's prescription is really risky. Taking any drugs for which you have not been medically screened is not only dangerous, but taking an opioid that was not prescribed for you is also illegal. Never borrow and never share prescribed medication. Your life and your loved one's life could depend on it. Talk to your doctor about prescribed opioids. Never mix with alcohol, and remember, never borrow, never share. It only takes a little to lose a lot.
This project was supported by a grant from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation. Contents are solely the responsibility of CHCC and do not necessarily represent the official views of the CDC or the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The largest show in the Pacific is looking for dancers to work on Guam. The show, Carrera, an island, a journey, an adventure. This is a unique opportunity for dancers from Saipan, Tinian, Rota, and beyond. Polynesian and contemporary dancers for one show nightly, 5 days per week, offering competitive pay, airline flights, and even housing for off-island hires. Join the cast and experience working with a world-class creative team that has worked with Madonna, Celine Dion, U2, and Cirque du Soleil. Show now in pre-production. It will begin in March. Casting call on now. Up to 40 dancers are needed. Send bios and photos to casting@baldiga.com. Sandcastle Guam. Casting call. Apply now.
Welcome back to the Channel 2 News. Tonight we are going to do a quick recap of some of the stories from last year. Our first is this. The CNMI legislature held its first ever impeachment trial for a sitting governor back in May. Many concerns were raised if it was really a trial or not. It was without a prosecutor or records. Let's take a look back.
I hope that through this process, you realize that there is two sides of every story, and today and starting today, you hear my side of the story, and we look forward to clearing this, and we just move forward.
Governor Ralph Torres leaves this message to the community just hours before his impeachment trial began. Torres is the second governor in the Commonwealth to be impeached, but the first to ever reach trial. This morning, his legal counsels, Anthony Uggan, along with Gil Burnbridge, represented him before the jury, calling 5 witnesses to the stand. Epri Cabrera was called first. Cabrera is the current grants administrator under the office of the governor, and he also served on a travel committee that was tasked to draft new travel regulations for government officials. Cabrera states the first draft of travel regulations were written in 2017.
When we drafted the regulations, first-class travel was inserted inside for the governor and lieutenant governor.
Why did the committee do that?
As the governor and the lieutenant governor, the head of state, we felt that it is best for the best interest of the government that these 2 individuals are well rested before they head to any meetings in DC or abroad, because they represent the state, and it's very important when they go to these meetings, and they should be well rested. It was consensus by the committee that they should receive first-class travel status.
So after you did a first draft of the regulations, did it ever undergo legal review at that time?
Yes, it did.
Who reviewed that? Do you remember?
Yes, the Attorney General, Mr. Edward Mangusan, received a copy via email.
And did he ever mention anything about the provisions allowing for first-class travel?
No, he didn't.
Legal counsel again argued that the committee believed it was in the best interest of the governor and lieutenant governor to travel first class, and that the AG did not oppose the first class travel policy. The second witness called to the stand was Chief Investigator of the Attorney General's Office, Lawrence Pangilinan, who testified he was tasked to look into the governor's travel history. Pangilinan stated he not only looked into the governor's travel, but other officials as well. Pangilinan says he found first-class travel from former AG Joey San Nicolas, AG Edward Manibusan, and Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios.
As you can see, and as you will hear Mr. Pangilinan testify, Governor Torres wasn't the only one traveling first class at this time. Current and former AGs traveled during this time, first class, which just brings me back to my point with Mr. Epi Cabrera. There's huge confusion on whether or not anyone could travel first class at this time. The AG himself was confused.
The third witness, CUC Executive Director Gary Camacho, testified on the alleged water and power accounts of Governor Torres. His statement very similar to the first testimony before the House JGO.
In your opinion, did Governor Torres commit theft of utility services as alleged?
No, not with CUC at all.
And this testimony that you're giving today, it's consistent with the testimony you gave at the JGO, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
The other two witnesses were Glenna Palacios and Priscilla E. Jacopo. The Senate will resume trial on Monday, 10 a.m. The Attorney General's office filed criminal charges against Governor Ralph Torres, charging him with misconduct in public office, theft, and contempt. The charges filed stem primarily from the purchase of business-class airline tickets for the governor and his wife in 2018. The information filed includes dates from April 2018, June 2018, July, August, September, October, November, and December. He is charged with misconduct in public office, theft, and contempt. The AG alleges 12 counts of misconduct in public office and 1 count of theft relating to the issuance of airline tickets for business class, first class, or other premium class travel for himself and Diane Torres. The case also alleges 1 count of contempt for failure to appear in compliance with a subpoena. Attorney General Edward Manibusan says the charges follow months of thorough investigation by the Office of Attorney General Investigator Division. The next steps in the process will be to have Governor Torres arraigned and allow the case to proceed in accordance with the criminal justice system. A penal summons for the governor demands that he appear in court on April 18 at 9 a.m. Tempers flared in the Senate chamber as the topic of impeachment got a little too hot. Let's take a look back. The Senate session on Monday was cut short after tempers arose between Senators Victor Hochul and Paul Maglone. Hochul and Maglonia are both from the island of Rota and are currently the longest sitting members. A few hours after the abrupt adjournment of the session, Senate President Jude Hofschneider addressed the people of the Commonwealth through a social media platform of what happened earlier that day.
I want to express my apologies for what transpired during break, what transpired earlier, and that is not something that we condone, and we should hold ourselves to a higher level of decorum as members of the Senate.
Hofschneider added that a video that circulated through social media does not represent how they function in the chamber. The Senate President addressed his colleagues as well.
And to my colleagues, we are better than that. We all know the rules. Most of us have served for several years, and we know what our function is, and we know what to do when being asked to do so. So I ask that let's uphold that and exert all kinds of professionalism and diplomacy so that we can get through with our order of business.
The same evening, Representative Tina Sablan issued the following statement. Quote, tempers flared in the Senate chamber today, in part because the stakes are so high and because the rules put forth by the Joint Committee are so unreasonable and clearly one-sided. Unfortunately, what the people have seen thus far is a concerted effort by the Senate leadership to shield the proposed rules from public review and comment and to suppress voices of opposition. Sablan went on to say that the Senate President's apology is appreciated and necessary, but she also urges him to take further steps. Sablan suggested that the Joint Committee go back to the drawing board to ensure fair and reasonable rules. She also asked that the Senate President make sure the Senate complies with the Open Government Act and allow people to speak freely. Several Democratic House members also say that the proposed rules for the impeachment trial are in favor of the governor and are in violation of the Open Government Act. Their concerns came after last Friday's session, where the Senate committee adopted the impeachment rules without allowing oral comments and keeping the rules away from the public. This morning, KSPN asked Governor Torres, who is the subject of the impeachment trial, for a comment on what transpired on Monday.
I'd rather not comment at this point because it's best that I don't.
Governor Torres states he has not spoken to Senator Hokuk or Senator Maglonia since the incident. Torres also says because the trial process is still ongoing, he will be refraining from speaking on the matters with the senators.
At this point, other than any government functions, groundbreaking or any other things, I don't see myself communicating with them in regards to this issue. But for any proclamation, any other government function, I'll be happy to be part of that conversation.
No word yet on when the next special session will be. Following the governor's impeachment by the House, the Senate listened to public comments before ultimately acquitting Governor Torres. Opposition was heard in the Senate chamber on Wednesday, just minutes before the Senate took a vote on whether to remove Governor Ralph Torres from office or not.
You have placed a mark of your legacy. Many will suddenly remember today as the worst corrupted political group in the history of our cinematic government. The law is plain and simple, Senators. If you do not appear before the legislature in compliance with a valid subpoena, you are in contempt. Governor Torres failed to appear as subpoenaed. The subpoena was valid. He is in contempt. It is really that simple. Senators, if you do not vote to convict on Article 6, you would be ignoring this law. The people of the Commonwealth are watching. They're waiting to see if you'll honor the trust they have placed in you. Will you uphold the law, or will you place the political interests of Governor Torres above our Constitution?
Victorino Torres came to the governor's defense as he told the story of his brother's sacrifices during the typhoon aftermath and pandemic.
Governor Torres has been going up to the airport every single airplane that arrived at 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And not a single other elected official ever went up during those times. Did you see him coming out ever in a newspaper attacking or criticizing anybody? No. Why? Because that is the kind of governor that he is. That's the governor that we have. That's the governor that you have. That's the governor that I have. And he is my baby brother. And so I will leave you with this. As you sit, all of you senators, you will be deliberating, thinking to cast your votes whether or not to impeach my brother. I please ask you one question. to ask yourself, if there is another pandemic or disaster, life-threatening ones, that will hit the CNMI, our islands, what kind of governor do you want to lead us? A governor that sits in the comfort of his or her home, or a governor that goes out and risks his life to help his people?
Governor Torres remains in office after the Senate acquitted him of all the charges listed in the articles of impeachment. All right, folks, please stay tuned as we bring you some of the highlights of last year's sports.
Need a new phone? Trade in now and get up to $500 off our best 5G devices. Trade in your older phone in any condition and step up to better savings and speeds only our 5G network can provide. Check out our website and catch up on the best mobile experience. Trade in now. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Hi, I'm Dre, one of the personal trainers here at Goats Gym, and today we're going to go over the cable lat pull down. Now what we want to remember with machine-based exercises, there's really no right or wrong way of doing it. There's multiple ways of executing the exercise. What you'll often see is lifters executing the exercise in this fashion, and instead of working the muscles of your upper back, you're just irritating the shoulder joint, which is what you don't want. All right, let's clean that up a little bit. Let's sit upright a little bit more. Okay, as you get a full stretch, bring it down with your elbows coming in. So in general, as you set up this way, you're going to be feeling majority of the impulse right here, which is your lats. Okay. He's getting a full stretch and he's getting a full squeeze in the bottom.
The Tan Su Lin Foundation promotes the culture of giving back. The foundation and its generous partners are committed to supporting programs that include health, education, and sports. Initiatives that promote arts and culture, the environment, and tourism will benefit our community and our residents. Giving back and making a difference will help ensure that the island paradise we call home will be a better place to live.
Tonight's sports brought to you in part by Tan Holdings through the Tan Su Lin Foundation, making communities a better place to live.
Buenas sports fans.
All right, now we're still on a 2022 recap. We look back at the moments when our athletes were getting pumped up for the historic Northern Mariana Islands Pacific Mini Games.
All 124 athletes who will represent the CNMI in the 2022 Pacific Mini Games take the stage during a special banquet held in their honor, just days before they take the stage to compete in their respective sports. Northern Mariana Sports Association President Jerry Tan talks about what a long road it's been since the CNMI was first picked in 2015 to host the games, first dealing with devastating typhoons and then with the COVID pandemic.
If you think back the last 7 years, we went through a lot, to say the least.
Badminton competitor Nathan Mendiola Guerrero says the athletes have also been through a lot.
We've been doing a lot of pairing, as you know, because with badminton, you can't just pair any two good players and be great. You know, it's there's a lot of chemistry involved, so we've been working with that. And for the first time, we've also had coaches coming in from Korea and also from the Philippines. So we've been preparing with our coaches as well. And right now it's just fine-tuning a little bit of minor mistakes, I would say. But the team's coming along well, and all of us are very excited.
Governor Ralph Torres says he is proud of everyone who worked so hard to get to this point.
Guys, everyone in this room, if you look around, you represent CNMI. No one else. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you guys are going to be in this book, the history book of CNMI.
Torres also recognizes the coaches.
Who've been in your sport for many years, who have put their time and their love for the sport to show you what experience they have had. So it's your turn to give back to the community and to the next generation. So with that said, I want to personally thank all of you. You represent CNMI, and let's wave that flag.
One of those who will be waving a flag is sprinter Zarni Sapong, who along with Jason Tarkon will serve as an official flag bearer.
It's definitely an honor and a privilege for me to bear the flag, especially since the games are being hosted here. So I'm excited to have our island and everybody here watching support me in that.
Take advantage of this situation. If you get to know one person from another island, that will enhance your experience, and it will enhance their experience. Be friendly and engaging throughout these games. So many times, it's the little things, casual interactions. Hi, how are you? They create special moments that are the stuff of lifetime memories.
What's the move? Kinda wild out. Catch a groove. She said, where you going? What's the move? Kinda wild out. Catch a groove. What's the move?
Hi, I'm Dre, one of the personal trainers here at Goat's Gym, and today we're going to be going over the leg press. Now I have here with me is Vince, and he's going to show you how to execute it properly in two different ways. A common mistake that you'll often see is leaving your hands free, either up here or on your lap. I strongly recommend you holding onto the sled and create that tension in the upper body, which then allows you to create more range of motion. So with his current foot placement, he was feeling it on his legs, his quads. Now with a simple adjustment by placing his foot a little higher on the platform and his toes pointed out slightly, he's going to transfer that tension, which was previously on his legs, onto his hamstrings and glutes. Again, he's gonna grab onto the sled, creating that bracing effect up here.
For your New Year weather report, tonight partly cloudy with isolated showers, northeast winds 15 to 20 miles per hour, highs around 84 with a 20% chance of showers. Tomorrow, breezy, partly cloudy with isolated showers, northeast winds 15 to 20 miles per hour, lows around 77 with a 20% chance of showers. The marine forecast, moderate to fresh trade winds will dominate this week within the Mariana waters. Near gale gusts are possible through Wednesday through Friday. Combined seas of 7 to 9 feet will edge slightly higher today, dropping a foot thereafter, and lasting such until the weekend. Small craft advisory is in effect through Wednesday afternoon. The high tide will be at 7:35 a.m., low tide 1:10 p.m., sunrise 6:54 a.m., and the sunset you can catch that at 5:58 p.m. And there you have it. That is your Monday edition and your New Year's edition of the news, sports, and weather here in the CNMI. As always, thank you so much for watching the Channel 2 News. We hope you have a great night. We'll see you back on Wednesday with more.